Welcome to Story Chats at Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
I'm Valerie Comer.
Jaycee Weaver is here with us today to talk about her book, Can't Fight the Mistletoe. When New Mexico resident and USA Today best-selling author Jaycee Weaver isn't reading or writing, she enjoys dates with her brainiac hubby, drinking coffee, crafting, pretending she's a nature photographer, and making her teenagers cringe. Thank you for being here, Jaycee. That last one's pretty easy to do, I think.
Oh yeah, it takes absolutely no effort at all.
So we will start, as we usually do, by saying, Jaycee, tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, okay. So it's a romantic comedy, and it's, I think, probably my first official foray into the genre. I put a lot of humor into my other books, and I have some that are like rom-com adjacent, but I really wanted this one to be a little bit more straight up rom-com.
Okay.
And I absolutely love Dan and Alessia. Alessia started talking to me just so loudly, or rolling her eyes, I guess I should say. That was her first thing she did for me. And since that is a quality that we share, it was a lot of fun to write her. I love Loathe to Love. It's one of my favorite genres, so I wanted to incorporate that too. So I'm hoping it all came together well.
Excellent. All right, Narelle, jump in. You go first.
All right, so let's talk about Alessia. So she's we'll go back to the beginning of the story. So she's a very independent person, which I really like. I like strong, independent heroines, but sometimes they can be a little bit too independent, and I think Alessia tends to fall into that category. So she's got a really complicated and complex family background that's quite unusual for what you'll typically see in CCR, which I found fascinating. And in particular, her relationships with her parents have impacted who she is as a person and what neuroses that she has, and it can also hold her back in terms of relationships. So what I thought we could talk about with Alessia is how her parents, and probably her dad in particular, has impacted her attitudes and how she relates to people in general.
So I go first?
Yep, go. That's you.
Yes, it's you.
Okay. Being that her dad, she was raised in that nuclear family for, the first 12 years of her life. And so there was a little bit of that stability. And then all of a sudden, her parents are splitting because news of her dad's infidelities had come out. And not only infidelity, but multiple children from multiple mothers across the country. And I don't know where exactly that came from as I was writing, but things happen.
That corner right back here in your brain, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's funny because one of my critique partners actually mentioned that isn't all that different from her relationship with her dad. So it was nice to know that it does happen.
Sort of nice to know.
Nice to know.
I mean, it's really nice to know. I kind of hate that for her. But I mean, I guess I should say it's validating.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So
it makes it relatable.
Yes.
How's that?
Yeah.
Yes, that's much better. I'm I gotta ease back into the groove here. It's been a while since I've been on the story chats. So but yeah, I loved hearing her voice and just trying to understand and pick apart what it was that made her independent. Why doesn't she need people? Why doesn't she need help? Why is it that she doesn't trust anybody? Why is it that every time she just thinks of Dan or Danger Stevens, he elicits an eye roll? Like, why would that happen? Especially because I knew that Dan was just going to be Mr. Nice Guy and an absolute ray of sunshine and have wonderful family. So I knew readers would love him. At least I hoped readers would love him because I love him. But for her, I knew she needed to tell me more about herself in order to be able to like her, because so many times when you have an independent heroine who is just so independent to the point where she almost has a chip on her shoulder, and she treats him so rudely in the beginning, there's no way we're going to like her at all unless we can understand why she is the way she is.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
pulled that part off, because her inner monologue was, yes, very eye rolly. And if you folks read the story, you'll know what we mean by all this eye roll stuff. Alessia's a pro. But yeah, I think that we begin to understand quickly where that chip comes from, I guess.
Yeah.
And it does make her relatable.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes. And I liked how it played out. So often I can get frustrated with a book where you start off with a character that has a particular issue, but then the story never touches on dealing with it. So it's kind of like the character stays flat all the way through. Whereas what I really enjoyed about Alessia's character is we actually got to see that character growth, and she then had to confront things in the story. And I thought that was done in a very plausible and interesting way as well. And it can be harder sometimes in rom-coms to sort of go to those deeper places, but I thought you did that very well, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right, Valerie.
So yeah, she loves to hate Danger Stevens. And I'm just really curious. You said you love to write a loathe to hate or loathe to love trope. How did that work out for you in this scenario? And why is her negative opinion so very strong? Now, you mentioned that he's this really super likable, nice guy. But he kind of came across as pushy as well. So tell us a little bit about that balance and how you worked that out.
Okay. Well, so Dan is fun for me to write because growing up in an all-female family, I feel like that kind of gave him where he thinks he understands how women work, but of course that's delusional because no guy can truly ever understand how women work.
Because we don't understand either.
Yeah, we don't understand either. So I think there's a little bit of that hubris, right? Which gives him that, he gives him that confidence where he thinks that he knows, so he can push her and poke her and press those buttons to get a reaction out of her, partly because it's fun and that's what he grew up doing with his sisters. And so he has that confidence, not always realizing that doesn't work with everybody. And so, especially with someone like Alessia, who has severe trust issues and thinks that any guy who is trying to be charming, it must be a flirt like her dad. And so being able to play off of that was a lot of fun because I love loathe to love stories. I think they're so much fun if they're done well. I hate to call them hate to love because if it's truly hate, then there's way too many obstacles to overcome. And I know that Story Chats has covered that before in other episodes. And so, but also enemies to lovers isn't quite right either because they aren't really enemies. They don't have anything that they're opposing each other for other than what's in Alessia's head.
Right.
And so the loathing is a little bit more of what I wanted to focus on. And having her understand that Dan was probably a little bit more complex than the two-dimensional image she had in her mind of who he is. And I think that's a little easy for us to do when we've got parents who aren't perfect or even have significant issues that they have impacted us with. And so, as a kid, you look at your parents and it is kind of almost two-dimensionally. It is hard until you're an adult to understand the complexities of what makes your parents tick. And most of us don't fully get that either. But I think having that in Alessia's mind, knowing that, okay, my dad is this, he's just this way. She almost stereotypes him in her own mind, the way that we sometimes do when we have conflict with parents. Mm-hmm. And so then to realize that, oh wait, doing that to Dan might not be so fair. So it was really fun to be able to work that out and to tease those little pieces of their relationship out into the open.
Why did you call him Danger?
I'll be honest, I don't put any thought whatsoever into naming my characters. They name themselves. They just do. They name themselves. And so whatever comes out on the paper or comes out on the screen as I'm typing, that's typically what just they get named. I put more thought into my side characters' names than I ever do into my hero and heroine.
That's
so
funny.
Apparently he just named himself.
But he's very emotionally dangerous for her. From her perspective, he's dangerous because he's the only person that's really challenging her and has even half a hope of getting beneath all these protective layers she's got around herself as well. So it makes sense from that perspective. Yeah.
Yes. I love it when they fulfill their own name.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's more subtle, but not with his.
No. No, indeed.
No, and I can't take any credit for it whatsoever because I really did not intend to name him Danger Stevens.
That's funny.
Excellent. That's funny. All right, so Dan has a lot of siblings, which is lovely because hopefully, right, we're going to see more Stevenses coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the plan there?
Well, I haven't made any plans officially other than I know that they're coming.
Okay. All right.
So I tend to fly by the seat of my pants, and whoever's yelling the loudest in my head gets their story first. So
is it going to be other than the Stevens family can horn in on that, or?
Yes, there is a chance, but it is. I do have it planned for next year that at least Maeve will get her story, because I really, Tori's fun and I really love her, but I think she can wait. I really want, I really want to tell Maeve's story. So I feel like it will be a very emotional rom-com, I guess.
Yes.
So yeah, but I think, like Courtney Keisel does it really, really well in her commit. I think that was the first one in that series, because it was with a widower, and so it shouldn't have been so funny. It is a rom-com, but there's so many emotional feelings that go along with it, and so I would not mind at all being able to put a little bit of that into the rom-com genre.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, that's fun. So the plan is for them all to be rom-coms?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you leaning that way forever and ever and ever? No. Okay.
I'm too non-committal to commit to that.
Okay. Fair. That's legit.
So for right now, that's the vibe I'm feeling. Only because whatever comes out of me is going to come out of me, and I guess I can just slap a sticker on it. And hopefully it'll work.
Yeah.
But I've been on a rom-com reading kick for a few years now, probably even before the pandemic. And so the lighter side of things is really what hits me. And of course, because how I write, and the stories that come out of me do have the highs and the lows of the feelings and the complexities and the family chaos and definitely the truth of my faith. That's not going to go anywhere. So I feel kind of like maybe I'll technically be writing kind of rom-com-ish, but it will be definitely with a Christian bent.
All right. So the next question that we have to answer is why Blue Hawaii? Which, without having any spoilers that go along with anything, of all the things you could have chosen, why Blue Hawaii?
Okay. So I had never actually seen the movie before I wrote the book. So I started brainstorming, and my best friend and I were having a conversation because I kind of knew where I wanted things to go with the story, but I needed the right vehicle. And I couldn't quite get there. And so my best friend Molly, who always bounces off my books with me, or from at every stage, every time I'm stuck, it doesn't matter what she's doing, she answers the call. And so so I was just throwing some stuff out there in the beginning, and she was like, oh, it would be hilarious if they were trying to do like a Hawaiian wedding. And I don't know why that clicked, but it clicked. And so I started just kind of thinking through things and researching some different movies. And then I saw some images of like the wedding scene at the end. And I thought, okay, I could so make this work, but I have to watch the movie. So then I watched the movie and I'm sitting there going, okay, my Gen X eyes are not understanding why this movie was made, but that's okay. So some of the opinions of the characters may or may not be reflected of a certain author, but not all of them, but maybe most of them.
That's funny. So you've hinted at this wedding. So is it giving anything away to say whose wedding we're talking about here? Or?
Not at all. I think it's in the description. Because even though currently it is in the Merry Christmas collection with some ebooks from other authors, it'll be released next year by itself, and I already put the paperback by itself up. And so I'm pretty sure it's already in the description that it's an octogenarian wedding for the senior center that Alessia works at, which is not technically a senior center. It's a high-end retirement community. So
yeah.
Yeah,
very high end.
Very
incredibly really fun.
Incredibly high.
Yes.
It's the kind of place I'd like to retire to one day.
Right.
I think it would be fantastic. We have two. Yeah, we have two in Albuquerque. Well, one in Albuquerque and one in Rancho that are very much like what I was describing. So it was really fun to do a little bit of that research.
Excellent. Very good. Does anybody have anything more to ask Jaycee?
I think I'm good. I don't see anything more on my notes.
Yep, no, I'm good as well.
Do you have anything that you wish that we had asked you or commented on?
Open-ended question here.
Oh gosh, all of the pressure.
I know. Sorry.
Well, so I had posted a couple of weeks ago, or I guess it was like a month or so ago, when I was kind of trying to hint at what I was writing and about how much I share in common with the way Alessia's mind works. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to put some different things in. And I didn't intend to do it. It's just that, you know, as I'm writing her character, she starts just like her brain's going off on all of the different squirrel tracks. And I catch myself going, oh, Jen, stop writing yourself. Okay, write another person.
So this is autobiographical, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But apparently the way her mind works is just a little too familiar.
A little bit of insight there into the author. That's exciting.
Yes. Yeah, there might be a little bit of her head in my head, or my head in hers, but it's a scary, scary place.
Most authors' heads are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It is true. Yeah. It is true. All right. Well, tell us what's coming up next. Do you have anything officially planned coming soon?
Well, I'm trying to figure that out. Okay. This year, well, after 2021,
yeah,
I spent all of last year just doing too much recovery.
Sure.
And part of that recovery was a severe case of burnout. And most of this year I fought that too. So this is like the first book that I feel like I've written that is really me. And so since I had COVID. And so it's been really nice to be able to do that. So I'm kind of just trying to enjoy easing my mind back into the rhythm of writing, not pressuring myself to push too hard, too fast to do something that isn't natural. So I feel like at the moment, if a story strikes me, then I just want to chase that rabbit trail and see what comes out and see how it shapes up and then do with it what I can. So I'm doing a lot of praying about what's next and which story needs to be the priority, because there are a lot of them right now.
Sure.
Which I'm so grateful for, because for most of this year I had nothing at all. And it was really hard because I got really frustrated at myself and second guessing. And am I supposed to do this author thing? I don't know.
Cool.
I can understand how that would be.
Yeah. Burnout is no joke. That is not fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It was really hard, and it's discouraging. So it was nice to be able to take that break this year and just kind of re-release a bunch of the books that I'd written previously. I think I had 5 or 6 collections over the last few years that had all disbanded within the last year and a half, and I have not had any time or brain space to do anything with them. So I've been concentrating on that. I have 1 or 2 more to relaunch, over the next couple of months, and we'll get that done. And then I can do fun stuff that's new.
Excellent.
For
Very
fun
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
Tell everyone where they can find you and your books online.
Currently, most of my books are on Amazon through Kindle Unlimited and available for purchase there. I'm working towards expanding that in the next year as well. So
Cool.
Hopefully I'll be everywhere with at least a few of my titles.
Excellent.
You can find me on social media. And I love people joining my email community at jayceeweaver.com/newsletter.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Jaycee, for being here today and
Thanks for having
chatting
me.
about this very, very fun. Is it a novella? Because it felt like it read quickly, or is it long and it just read quickly?
It's technically a short novel because it's like 55,000 words. So
Okay, so it's a normal length. The page. We ran into this in a couple of books in recent episodes where I've been like, it felt short, and then we look and it's not short. It just reads really well.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good
really
thing.
excellent.
That is a good thing.
well, thank you.
Yeah. So we will not be here next week because it will be Christmas weekend and we are taking Friday the 22nd off. So there are plenty of episodes if you need a Story Chats fix that you can go find. But we do wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, full of the joy of Jesus, which is the whole reason that we celebrate. So thank you for joining us today. And we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments on YouTube or on our Facebook page. You can find information about the podcast at inspyromance.com/storychats. And if you do happen to be over there on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you do that, then you'll know that you don't miss an episode next week because there won't be one, but you just won't get a notification about that. So, but on purpose.
It'll be a non-notification.
Yes. We will see you not next week, but the week after. And in the meantime, don't forget to fall in love with a good book. Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.